What's up? It's your boy Young Brett, and you're watching Visions for a Child's Heart with my good friend, Miss Evelyn Polk.
Rachel's weeping for her children. Rachel's weeping. Somehow someone's got to save them. Save the children. And if you say that love the answer, why don't we begin? Or will we just end?
Hi, this is Miss Evelyn. Welcome to another segment of Visions for a Child's Heart. Today we're doing two things. We're continuing our series on We Are the Village, which promotes the contributors to our compilation CD project, We Are the Village. And we're also talking about National Foster Pride Month, which is in May of every year. And perhaps you may not be viewing this during the month of May, and we hope that you will take the sentiment of it beyond the month of May, because it's something we want to embrace and impart throughout the year. Today our guest is Mr. Marcus Amar Matani Wilson. Welcome, Marcus.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad we finally got you here.
Finally.
Finally. It's been a long road, but it's been because good things have been happening with you, and we're going to talk about that a lot. But first of all, thank you for your contribution to our CD project. And actually, you're holding it.
I didn't right here.
Yeah. And I'm very excited about it, and even more appreciative because you, at the time, were just cutting your very first CD.
Right.
And you gave us the first song and allowed us to promote that.
Right.
And I want you to know that I don't take that lightly. Okay. I'm very pleased. And you know, I love you. I love your music. And the very first time I heard you play, it was through the recommendation of Pastor Van Waller.
Right.
And had you come, and he said, "You're going to love him. You're going to love him." And I said, "Okay, well, I love music." Then when you got up, everybody in the knew me, and they turned around and looked at me and said, "Okay, I know she likes this," because you sort of have that Stevie Wonder, which I'm a huge fan of, Donny Hathaway, and a little bit of everybody, but you have your own unique style, and you're just an awesome keyboardist and vocalist. And hopefully during the introduction, people got to hear a little bit about your music. And when we go off, they're going to hear a little bit about the song that you contributed. I think I may have told you that night after you performed at our event, this was about 3 or 4 years ago,
right, about 3 or 4
that
years.
I also realized that wasn't my first time meeting you.
Yeah, I do remember you said that, but I don't recall.
Okay. It was actually at a Christmas dinner for Miss Annie Turner at her home.
Oh, that's right. Like 2 or 3 years before.
Before that.
Exactly. Right.
And she also told me, "You're going to love this young man."
Right.
And they were trying to get you to play, and you didn't really. You sort of
confident,
dabbled. You weren't really. You were being shy.
Yeah.
And now I know why she told. So you were destined to be in my life.
That's
we
right.
were destined to be in each other's lives.
That's
So we
right.
kept going and kept going, and we keep doing it. And I'm really proud of you. And not only you're a great musician, you are a very sincere young man about everything that I see you do, about your spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
You're now a husband and father.
Yes.
And I see how serious you are about that, but you also have a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
I remember one day, it totally shocked me because we went to go have lunch, and I was laughing so hard, my food came out my mouth because you were just had me rolling. So I just appreciate all those qualities about you. And I guess I'll let you talk a little bit.
Yeah.
But why did you agree and decide to contribute to this project?
Well, I think, first of all, when you asked me about it, I really felt like you had done, up until that point, you had done so much for me. And so I wanted to give back. Mm. And I really believed in, For a Child's Heart, I really believe that, being a foster child myself, I really believe that what you're doing is needed. And I don't think that there's enough good people. There's plenty of people who are attempting or are doing or have been doing what you're doing, but I don't think there's enough good people like you. Have a real heart for the kids. So when you asked me to put a song on your CD, I was honored. And I'm glad that it worked out for you, because we had just finished this song and we were trying to get it. It wasn't even really mixed, but you said give it to me, and so I'm just glad that it really worked out for you.
Okay. Well, our lines are ringing.
Yeah.
Somebody's calling in.
Someone's calling in. Yeah. What do they want?
Well, we'll let our assistants catch that.
Right.
Bottom line, I forgot to turn my phone off.
Right.
But that's okay. Whoever it is, you're live. We'll figure out who it is. So you did mention something that I did not say yet, because I thought it was going to come up a little bit later, but it just popped up. But it's fine.
Sorry.
But you indicate that you yourself were a foster child.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was taken away from my parents at around the age of between 5 and 6 because of some serious abuse issues. My foster father actually not foster father, my stepfather at the time was abusing everybody in the house. So it was definitely an unsafe situation. And me, I talk a lot now, but even then, you know, I went to school, and I remember the teacher asking me, because I would never take a nap, and I remember the teacher asking me, what's wrong with you? And I'm getting hit and beat, you know, and usually kids are real, you know, secretive of that. But I just told the teacher, and then I remember coming to school the next day, and I remember some lady being there and walking me to, it was a gold car, and that was the last time I saw my mom. Yeah,
wow.
So they just came to the school. I was actually living in Acorns.
In Oakland?
In Oakland, Oaktown,
I
yeah.
didn't know you were from Oakland.
Yeah, well, I'm from Memphis, but my stepfather at the time, he was in the Navy, and so we moved from Memphis to the Bay Area.
Okay.
Because he was in the Navy, and I guess Acorns was military housing or something like that back at that time.
Well, not at that time, but prior to that.
Before it was.
Yeah, years before.
Yeah, and so I just remember, like I said, the next day at school, they took me away, and there began my journey through being in various different group homes and foster homes and different families. And it definitely, you know, it was rough, and you know, it was good, and it was rough, and it was good, and just making it through the process. I'm just very thankful that I've made it this far, because I haven't always been a Christian, but just knowing that God allowed me to make it through that, to become a Christian, I'm very thankful for that. And then I ran into you, and knowing that you understand all that goes in with having a foster child. You know, I know you know about the medications and the disciplines and the outbursts and the problems. So I didn't go to public school until 9th grade, and then when I was in, or excuse me, 8th grade, and then when I was in 8th grade, I had to be in special ed classes, and I felt bad, and you know, but I was good in sports, and so that's how I got out of the shell of being quiet and being quote unquote a bad kid. The sports gave me the opportunity to release energy, because I was on Ritalin, and I didn't like being on Ritalin because it made me so quiet. I just would look at the ceiling.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, there was an earthquake in Oakland, and I was in a particular foster home in Oakland, and I remember that I was on Ritalin, and I was looking at the ceiling, and there was like a small crack that happened in the ceiling during the earthquake, and I really wasn't even aware that it was an earthquake going on.
Wow.
And so my caseworker, I told her I didn't like how it made me feel, and so they took me off that. But then once they took me off of, my behavior just was ridiculous. And so for about 6 years, I was kind of what you call a out of control youth. But then when I started playing sports, I was able to do something positive with my energy. And one thing led to another, and you know, and now I look back on my life and I just wonder, like, how did I make it? But just like you, somebody had to look past the broken windows and the broken walls and the, you know, and the scratching the car and running out in the street. Somebody had to look past that and say, you know, I'm willing to endure all of this so that he can be a good man.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a different question, but it just reminds me, I recently did an interview with Ayala Vincent, and I asked her, because she's parenting, she was a child that was passed from family to family, and she's now raising her grandchildren. And I asked her, what would you say to an adult who feels like they give a child the love and they reject it, and it's not received, and it breaks your heart? She said, well, isn't that what kids do? They're going to break your heart, they're going to break your lamps, they're going to break your television, but you love them anyway. And we have to get past that. Of course, it's upsetting, but that's just stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that stuff is long gone. You're still here.
Yeah.
You know, and our children are always going to be with us. They might not be children anymore, but
Right.
you're still my baby.
Right,
You know,
that's right.
I still call you my babies. And I think that is one of the things I want people to really get within themselves. It's not going to be easy.
Right. Oh,
But,
no.
but it's necessary and it's possible.
Yeah, I think what I would say to a parent who's either thinking about or who has a foster child or trying to adopt a child and it's a little rough, I would say that just remember that they want structure. And they're so used to when they break something, they just leave. They're so used to that. So some of it is them testing to see if you're going to be able to discipline them, if you're going to be able to give them a structured environment to where they feel comfortable, right, to be themselves and begin to heal emotionally.
Exactly.
And a lot of foster parents, they don't take the time. It's you have to be good, you have to do this, and if you don't, well then they threaten you and say, well, you're going to leave.
Yes.
And that makes things so much worse.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
now you don't have no safety, you have no comfort zone, you have no ability to make mistakes and grow, because that's how you grow as a human being.
Exactly.
So if you have any foster kids, male or female, provide them with a comfortable environment, letting them know that hey, whatever mistakes you make, I'm going to be here to help you through it, and you'll see just a drastic
But there's
change.
still going to be consequences.
Oh, definitely
Yeah.
going to be consequences, but you'll see a drastic change when they realize and they trust that you're really going to care for them. Yeah.
I am so glad you
Yeah.
said that. Well,
Oh,
we
yeah.
could end the interview
yeah,
right
yeah,
here because
yeah.
you said it. You have said it.
It's the truth, though. I experienced that a lot. I think the hardest thing for me growing up was feeling like no one loved me. Because I remember my mom's face, and the most of the memories that I have of my mom were, of either her being beat or her yelling at me or doing something crazy to me. But I didn't have any images of my mom loving me. And so when I was in these different group homes and foster homes, most of the group homes, unfortunately at that time, it was black kids, but it was white staff. And so you're looking at staff and they're trying to care for you, but they don't even look like you. So there's that disconnection there. And then I've been in foster homes where they already had other kids. So now you don't get that one-on-one love. So it was very hard for me to feel like I really mattered to someone. And so.
And that's why the name of the organization is For a Child's Heart.
Right.
Because when you say that, it just makes me feel so sad because I think every child deserves to feel that somebody loves them.
Yeah.
Even if you know you're a terror.
A terror, exactly.
And one of the things that my foster son said, even though he ended up still going to the group homes and all of that, two things that he said that really, really just let me know that it was worth it all. One was, that's how I got the name of the organization, because he was saying, when you touch me like that, it makes my heart warm.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. But another thing he told a therapist, and they were saying that I was being too hard on him, and he said, no, not really, and I know she loves me. That's the best thing that he could have said.
Yeah.
As long as they know that somebody did and does love them, that's all that matters at this point for me. I would like for their lives to have taken a different route, but it's not over yet.
Right, it's not over. Just beginning. Yeah.
It's just beginning.
Yeah.
Just beginning. So, was there at any point in your life that you felt loved?
Yeah, you get sprinkles of it, but it's really, I will say this, it's really hard to feel love when you don't have stability.
Yeah.
I finally got stability when my last foster home that I went to was when I was in the in 7th grade. Her name was Lisa Levias, and I stayed with her from 7th grade until graduating from high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and I felt love from her. I just think that by that time, I had started to go into being a young man. My heart was kind of cold and calloused. So it's like I couldn't even receive love at that time, because she did a lot for me. She definitely loved me. I'm sorry. Yeah, she definitely. Yeah, I'll move it around. I might throw it. Yeah, she definitely loved me, but I think I blame myself. I didn't get the most out of the relationship with her because, like I said, I had a calloused heart. But she did definitely show me love, and they welcomed me into their family. But after, when I graduated high school, that was when I was able to kind of go out and find out what real love is, you know, with my relationship with Christ and being a Christian. And then I was able to look back on all my experiences and understand that I made it through that to be stronger, not only for myself, but for someone else. And so now I feel love all the time because I give love, you know, and I see people on the street, or I, you know, I've worked at Boys and Girls Club and coached basketball teams, and for some reason, I always end up with a young male who is exactly like how I was.
Payback.
Pay back, right? And it's so funny because it's like, wow, this is what I did to people, and you know, and so now I understand why it was so hard, so difficult dealing with me. But it's always a blessing because I know exactly what's going on. When they tell me they don't like the medicine, I know exactly because I experienced that. Or when they tell me I can't sit still. I don't know why. I can't sit still. I'm in class, I can't sit still. I understand exactly what that feels like because I was there. And I was 14 feeling like that.
Wow.
And 16 sometimes, and 17. So I really thank God for the experiences because I'm really able to give real life lessons to some of the young people or even people that are my age, help them with what they're going through because of what I experienced.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a whole other topic that I want us to talk about, perhaps in another interview, the whole thing about medication.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. And some of my thinking is that people are quick to label you either as hyperactive or having ADD just because they don't know how to deal with it. And actually, generally, it's the kids that are very, very active and antsy that I like because they're usually the most creative. And we just need to know how to channel that. And so I can imagine to some extent that was probably you.
Oh, definitely.
So when you were talking about the sports, that was channeling that energy. The other part is the your music. At what point did you get involved with your music?
Yeah, I've always been a singer. Really fast. I hadn't seen my mom since age 7 to 21.
Wow.
And so I found her. I looked in the phone book. I remembered my grandmother's last name, which is Dixon. And there were only 4 Dixons in this particular part of Memphis. And I called all 4 of them. I finally called one of them, and I ended up finding my mom, and now we're back together, and everything's great. But she told me that I used to sing in church when I was like 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, but I had no memory of it. But I know that from when I can remember, I would always sing, whatever. You know, I loved rock music, Stevie Wonder, anything. And but once I got saved, that's when I really started playing. I really started playing the piano, really started singing, really started writing songs because I wanted to be used to help someone else's life be better through singing. And so ever since then, I've been singing and playing and continuing to do all that I could do to make people's lives better.
And you're doing an awesome job.
Yeah,
And I'm learning something even as we speak.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're aware that one of my goals is to start a school so that when kids get bounced around from foster home to foster home, at least something can be stable in their lives. And that's the school setting. It's not a school necessarily where kids can get kicked out because we understand what they're going through. But I really want to emphasize the arts so that they will have another way of expression because it's so many gifted young people out here, and they don't get to have that cultivated. You know, so fortunately, your life took you in a place where you were able to tap back into that.
Yeah.
I believe that there's so much more in our young people, and that's why I get excited when I see you doing what you're doing. And the little ones coming up are also the ones who need to see you, and that's why we do this program is to be able to encourage young people to say, see, there is more to you than this little antsy thing that people say you're such a bad kid. You know, I hate that. You know, you're a challenging kid, but not bad. Not bad. The other thing about the medication, you know, I do know that sometimes people do have something neurological going on.
Yeah, definitely.
But also, I believe a lot of it is emotional.
Yeah.
You know, it's not mental, it's what's going on with the anxiety inside of you. And so, as a therapist, a lot of times I'm told that I underdiagnose or that I coddle the kids because I just really believe in the heart connection.
Yeah, love is the key, huh?
Yes, I really believe. And not saying, you know, there's a quote that I read. It's a motto from some child symposium, but it says, where love and skill match, expect a miracle.
Right.
You know, and that's to me what it's about.
Can I jump in on that?
Sure.
I think about this. If more therapists or child care providers or whoever, if they would look at this, a lot of these kids who are coming into foster homes, for example, just take a kid who you're 5 years old and your dad or your mom they put you over the stairs, and then you're holding on to the stairs, and then just because the dad just is getting joy out of this, he pulls your fingers up and you fall down the stairs. And then he makes you come back up and he does it again and you fall down the stairs, or they beat you until you start spinning, or they make you get in a bathtub where the water is just blazing hot to where it bubbles your skin up. Like, those things happen to me. And so you can't expect for a child who's 1, 2, 3, and 4 years old to be quote unquote normal after that. You can't expect for them to come and sit in a therapy session and think that, oh, they're not normal. You have to look at what they've experienced.
Yes.
And sometimes medication is appropriate, but you can't just say that, oh, they're out of control. They're out of control for a reason. It's not like these kids grew up in a rich, beautiful, perfect, loving environment, safe environment. Now they're just, there's something wrong there. That's something different. So I think if you look at the history, and then you'll have a better understanding of that. Yeah.
Exactly. I am so glad you said that.
Oh, hey.
And that's why I try to get it from the people who've been through it.
Experienced
I sit in conferences and trainings. It's like, okay, that's just a hypothesis. And so happens it turns out for a lot of people. But I want to hear it, as they said, from the horse's
mouth. Yeah.
Exactly. So we have a lot more to say about that. You mentioned, your life coming full circle in terms of connecting with your family and the gifts. And one of the messages that you gave, because you were also one of our Les Brown Heart of Dreams and Tenacity Award winners in 2006.
What was that? 6, yeah.
And you were the keynote speaker for that event and didn't know that you were going to be the recipient. And probably the pictures will hopefully come up about this time. But you gave a message about being like Joseph?
Right, yeah.
Can you real briefly, because I know we're short in time, but can you sort of tell how you see your life as being parallel to that of Joseph?
It was supposed to be Jacob, and it's so funny that you're telling it just how I said it, because I was talking about Jacob, but I said Joseph. So it's supposed to be Jacob. And so, Jacob was his brother sold him into slavery, and
that was Joseph.
Was it Joseph?
That was Joseph.
Okay, so anyways, whatever I did, I said Jacob, and I was talking about Joseph. It was Joseph. Joseph was sold into slavery, but the end result was, because he grew and became a man, he was able to bless his family in the end. And so that's how I look at myself. I look at myself and I say, hey, my mom, because she was young, she had me when she was 14. Basically, she gave me away. Because she didn't do what she was supposed to do, but she was young.
She didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know. And at that time, they didn't have all the programs that they have. But anyway, so she kind of gave me away. And but I grew up and I became a man. And I was able to see her again, and I didn't hold what she did to me in the past, or what she allowed, because she didn't protect me. I didn't hold it against her. And so now, everything that I'm getting ready to receive in my life, whether it's financial, or whether it's, children, or whether it's a home or a house, she's able to be a partaker of that. And that's almost a mirror of the story in the Bible. And so, that's how I kind of identify with that character in the Bible.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's another topic, forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness.
A lot of kids have
Oh,
had
man.
all these years to imagine why their parents, quote unquote, gave them away or gave them up.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other topic, and we will actually do a whole conference
On that,
just the process of your maturing into who you are. So tell us, before we close, about what you're doing musically.
Yeah, right now I'm actually Right now I'm actually trying to get a record deal. I'm actually in the works right now. So definitely be praying and for me out there, those of you that are watching. We're trying to get that done, and we're trying to get our album finally all the way finished. And we're just trying to do as many shows as we possibly can right now.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, look for him.
Yeah, definitely.
And your musical name is?
The name of our group is called Matani. Matani, which means purpose. Definitely.
Okay. And I think our cameraman wants us to look at this camera. Okay. We're just keeping it real here. Matani. And tell us the meaning of Matani.
Matani means purpose, and so we're all here for a purpose. So
Yes,
yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad to be able to watch you fulfilling your purpose.
That's right.
I'm glad to be a part of it. I love you. I love your
Love you too.
music.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited.
Right.
So thank you for joining us today. Look for him and say you can see that you saw him and you heard him here. Matani.
Matani, that's right.
All right. And have a great day. Thank you for doing something special for a child's heart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There's a river that cleanses sin. It doesn't matter if you sink or swim, I swear. All that matters is if you want to be clean. You see, I'm down in it. Let the current carry me to a place that's better, to a way that's so much more. The old me is no more. 'Cause I'm already, yeah. You can see the change in me. My past is so far behind me, yeah, yeah. You can see the change in me. I'm ready. There's a river